I am sick the past day for no reason. Oh,
Sick?
yeah, like my throat really burning and all stuffed up. I have my snot rag here, and I don't know what happened. And I've taken.
Have you checked yourself for COVID
Yes,
yet?
yes, twice. No
That's not
COVID. It's just
COVID.
it's just
At least it's
allergies
not
in the
COVID.
air. LA has I'm not in LA like downtown. I'm in the suburbs, but like LA has a lot of junk in the air. I've even done allergy tests before, and I'm not allergic to anything, but they say there's so much stuff in the air in LA they can't test for everything, so might just be a cold. How was your Christmas?
It was fine. It was good even.
Oh. It's not
I
usually
got what I
good.
wanted.
That had some implications behind the words. It was good even.
Yeah. Yeah, I got what I wanted, so that's fine.
What'd you get?
I'm gonna go run off and grab it real quick. Since I have a wireless earpiece, I can do that.
Oh, we're doing show and tell now.
This came out.
What am I looking at? Babylon 5? Oh,
On Blu-ray specifically.
I need to watch that because I love
So
Star
it came
Trek.
out. Oh, this is not Star Trek.
No, I know, but I love Star Trek, so that's like the same sort of general
Not really.
sci-fi, isn't it? No?
It's sci-fi, but Babylon
what I
5
meant.
leans more towards science fantasy than science. Well, Babylon 5 is complicated. It's very good though. I'll give you that. I will say this: season 1 is very slow and very rough. Give it a break. Once you get to about 5 or 6 episodes in season 2, you'll know whether or not you actually like the show.
How does it compare
But
to
season 1 is quite rough.
How does it compare to Star Trek, TNG, or Voyager? Or is it more like DS9?
They're just completely different. So DS9 ripped it off. So that is a sore spot for a lot of B5 fans.
Oh, I don't like DS9. Well, actually, I haven't. I always try to watch it, and I just can't get into it. And then I specifically said I didn't want any presents, and then my parents got me the most presents. So I guess that's the trick.
That's fantastic.
I literally said I don't want a thing, please, absolutely nothing, and I got all sorts of things, and I'm like, no, I said I didn't want anything. So my favorite present was socks, actually, because my socks have holes in them, so it was nice to get socks.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this week we didn't have too much news actually, but we had big news.
We didn't have many news stories.
But we had big news.
But we did definitely have big news, yes.
And we predicted it, of course, too, because we knew this. Let me go to the website. We knew that this news was coming. So, look, I even put the Master Ball ACE SPEC, the old one, in the thumbnail for the last video. And then that's what we got. So, let's jump into it. So this week we got, this week we had Wild Force and Cyber Judge officially revealed at Japan's Champions League Kyoto. And as you can see on the booster pack, Wild Force features the paradox forms of the legendary beasts or cats. And Cyber Judge features the Three Musketeers. What are their names again? We've got, let me try to think out loud. Hold on. Let me try to think out loud. I don't try that enough. Okay. So this is Walking Wake. That's Gouging Fire, Entei. And that, what's Raiko's? What's his name?
That's the one I don't remember.
I forgot.
I haven't played the DLC yet. So like the TCG is teaching me everything right now.
Long neck cloud thing. And then Cyber Judge is Iron Leaves for Verizian. Cobalion is Iron Judge? Iron Crown? I think Iron Crown. And then Cobalion is Cobalion. Terrakion is Iron Boulder. Okay, good. I did it all. I just forgot.
So Raging Bolt was the only one that we forgot.
Raging Bolt. Okay, yeah, I wouldn't have remembered that. So we got the surprisingly, this is I think the closest, I'm pretty sure I can say this confidently, this is the closest we've ever had to a new Pokemon appearing in card form. So in the past, it would take months and months and months for new Pokemon that are released in the video games to come out as cards. But these just came like almost near simultaneously, only within like 2 weeks these are revealed. So it's the DLC came out in December, and Japan is going to have these cards in January. So that's a crazy fast turnaround, historically speaking. And actually, a lot of people haven't even played the latest DLC yet. So these booster pack artworks that show these Pokemon were actually spoilers to a lot of people who hadn't seen the Entei or the Terrakion yet. So the Raging Bolt or the Iron Boulder.
It's interesting too because these are fairly small sets for a January set for Japan.
But don't forget. Oh, I was gonna say, is that because we're gonna get Crimson Haze in our? But no.
Yeah, I'm leaning. No, I'm leaning more with you now that it probably will be part of the January set.
But we also have the. But we also have the decks, the Koraidon and Miraidon EX decks that are coming out alongside.
So
the set.
yeah, that's true. Okay, that's true. Okay, but these sets are like 71 cards, right? They're like 71 cards each.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine, except if you looked at the Japanese article that revealed them all, there's a bunch of reprints in there too that are not going to be reprinted for us most likely.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we're not going to get Sadas and Turos and stuff again all in the same set. We're not going to get a Brute Bonnet again. They won't do that. So that shrinks what we actually would get in our set by probably like 10 cards.
Oh,
which means it brings it down to like 130 probably for the source sets.
What about with the decks?
With the decks, we're looking at maybe 15 new cards total.
Oh, so maybe we will get Crimson Haze.
There is a good chance at this point. Because these sets are so small, yes, I think there's a very good chance Crimson Haze will make it in.
I just thought it was odd that Crimson Haze was releasing on literally the same date as the English set or whatever it was. It was similar or on the same date. So to me, that was just
interesting.
That seemed a little too coincidental. So maybe we will get it. We'll see. And as we learned at Worlds, these sets were going to see the return of ACE SPEC cards, and we got them. The big surprise this time is that they will not just include item cards as they were during the Black and White era, but also special energy cards, as you can see right here. And they're also pink colored, which is an interesting choice.
They make some very, very obvious which card they are in your deck.
Yes, I think maybe that was the point. And they also have like a new holo background. It kind of reminds me of stickers you get out of those like coin machines.
It actually reminds me a lot of the Radiant Pokemon. At least the Japanese Radiant Pokemon, the holofoil pattern had is very similar.
Yeah,
it's not the same, but it is quite similar.
I was thinking of the stickers for some reason. But hold on, let me jump to the other story. Where is it? So let me jump to a close up of them real quick. So you can see here that they also have like the holofoil in the background of the artwork is like that line holofoil, I think. You can see it, right?
No, don't do that. That ruins everything.
Well,
we're not going to go back to the Sword and Shield holo.
These are, yeah, that's what it reminds me of. And then the body has what we were just talking about. So it seems kind of like it has two effects, like the sort of glimmering square thing that it has here, and then the line holo. But
I'm sure when we get it in international, it'll be super muted.
Well, we'll have to wait to see the actual cards, video of the actual cards to judge them, because these are just digital images, so we can't really tell yet what they're going to actually look like.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the cards. Which ones did you feel were most notable?
Quite a few of them.
Should we just go through each of them, actually?
Yeah.
Okay,
let's go through.
I'll read
through
them.
Most of them.
I'll read them because I'm not so competitive focused, so I'm not going to have anything to say, and then you give us the analysis. How about that?
Okay, no.
No?
We're going to try something real fun.
Okay, what?
Ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
What we're going to do is you're going to read it out loud. You're going to try to analyze it from a competitive mindset, and then I'm going to see if you're good.
Okay, I like that. All right.
We'll do it for a couple. We don't do it for all of them. Just do it for a couple of them.
Sure. Gouging Fire EX, which is based on Entei. Fire, 230 HP, basic ancient Pokemon EX. For RC, it has Heat Blast for 60 damage. RRC, Exploding Flare, 260 damage. This Pokemon can't use Exploding Flare again until it leaves the active spot. And then it's a Pokemon EX with a Water Weakness and 2 Retreat. Bad?
Actually, really good. It's really good.
Well, because the Exploding Flare, there's ways to get around it. For it leaving the active spot. You switch. Yeah.
So in terms of energy acceleration, you have access to Sada's Vitality. You have access to Magma Basin. You're going to be running cards like Switch Cart, which will heal off the damage you take from Magma Basin, depending on how you're switching, which is fine because you're going to have to switch it several times most likely anyway. You have access to Ancient Booster Energy Capsule to up your HP by 60 and prevent you from getting affected by any special conditions. Like, you're doing pretty good damage. And then to top everything off, you also have the advantage of I lost my train of thought. Dang it! Of course I did. Cat distracted me.
Oh. You also have the advantage.
So because you're an ancient, you have the advantage. You're doing 260 damage in a format where everything is losing HP because this is going to be coming out after rotation. The HP threshold is not as big. You're not trying to hit one shot the VMAXs as much, and two shotting the two prizers isn't as awful. And then stuff like TM Devolution, of course, exists too. What is
ideal damage output? Are you trying to knock them out in 1 hit, 2 hits? Like, what is what you?
I mean, ideally, you're doing it in 1 hit. If you can do it in 1 hit, that's always better than multiple hits.
Well, of course, but I'm saying, like, if you can for most cards, are most decks trying to do like 1 hit knockouts, or is it like 2 usually?
So there's no specific formula. The way I would say it is, you need to be doing it in as many or fewer hits as they're tanking to knock you out, is what it comes down to. You need to be taking the knockouts in such a way that the prize trade is worth it, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
So if you can hit twice and still be advantaged in the prize trade, or at least not come out negative in the prize trade, you're okay.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
And that number does change format to format. Maybe we'll realize here in the coming format that 260 isn't enough, and it's just not good enough anymore because the stage 2s are super good. Charizard is really, really good right now, and it has high HP. But TM Devolution does exist if you need to use that. There are ways of adding more damage. You can always hit chip damage in. There's ways to do it.
All right. Let's move on to Walking Wake EX, which is the Paradox Pokemon based on Suicune. 220 HP, water, basic ancient Pokemon. Its ability is Cerulean Pulse. Damage from this Pokemon's attacks is not affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. And then for WCC, Catharsis Roar, 120 plus damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon is affected by any special condition, this attack does 120 more damage, so 240. And then Lightning, 1 retreat. I'm going to say bad because you have to get a special condition on it somehow.
You're so hesitant. You're like, I don't know. Is it bad? I think it will probably see some niche play as a tech card because it is a shred effect with Cerulean Pulse. It's definitely not a deck on its own because of Catharsis Roar requiring a special condition.
Right.
But yes, I think it will probably see some niche play as a tech card, but it's also a 2-prizer tech card, so it's still very niche. But it could have an important niche in a deck. It's one of those cards that you probably weren't going to want to pick up, but it may not be like the be all end all.
It's always like if your opponent is controlling the conditions by which you can attack, like that's not really ever ideal, right?
Well,
like, they can heal.
You can make them. You can make them have a special condition during your turn.
Right, but
so Brute Bonnet is a great example of that. And you hit them with the effect of Brute Bonnet, and then they have a special condition, and you hit them and do like I think Brute Bonnet I believe is poison, right? So you're gonna do the 240 and then a ping of poison damage. So you're hitting 250 each turn, if they are not also an ancient Pokemon with an ancient booster energy capsule attached. Because if they do have an ancient booster energy capsule attached, you have to get rid of that some way, or they're immune to your special conditions, and Catharsis Roar is limited to 120 damage, which makes it significantly worse.
I see. Wow, I really am out of my element here.
Okay. You had a good assessment. You had a good assessment.
Did I? Okay. I guess I'll have a little more confidence in it. Raging Boulder EX is a dragon type, 240 HP, ancient, based on Raikou. For 1 colorless, Bursting Roar, discard your hand and draw 6 cards. For Lightning Fighting, Extreme Ascent, 70 times damage. You may discard any amount of basic energy attached to your Pokemon in play. This attack does 70 damage. It does 70 damage for each card you discarded in this way. And then 3 Retreat, and like all dragon Pokemon, no weakness.
I think this could be very good, or it could be kind of stinker. Personally, I'm leaning toward it being good right now, based on what I've seen so far, what I think it could be played with. It does have options. Everybody online has been comparing it to Rayquaza VMAX and Reshiram and Zekrom GX, both of which were pretty bad. But they are missing one, at least in terms of Rayquaza. This is a basic Pokemon. It is not a 3-prizer like Reshiram and Zekrom. Its multiplier is still good, it's 70 times. And unlike Rayquaza VMAX, you don't have to discard all of one type. You can discard of whichever type. So if you want to do fire and a water and a grass or whatever combination of wacky energy you happen to be running in your deck, that's fine. You can do that. And I think that flexibility is really, really good. And then, again, to compare it and contrast it with Reshiram and Zekrom could only discard from the bench. And that by itself, with a really high attack cost on top of everything else, just made it super, super hard to get anything damage-wise off. I think Raging Bolt's not too bad.
Cool. We'll see. Then now we have Flutter Mane, based on Mischievous, Psychic, 90 HP, basic ancient Pokemon, ability Fluttering Dusk. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent's active Pokemon has no abilities except for Fluttering Dusk. And then for 3 colorless energy, Flying Curse, 90 damage, put 2 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like. Weakness to metal, 1 retreat.
Most likely this is either bad or extremely niche.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, this card not only shuts the abilities of Pokemon in the active spot off, but you do have to be in the active spot to do it. So it's really just super, super niche. Could it be useful maybe in some sort of control archetype? Perhaps. Some sort of stall archetype? Maybe. Maybe Alakazam thinks this is the best thing since sliced bread. I think Klefki is largely better because a lot of the abilities that people are using are not on evolution Pokemon. You get stuff like Luminion V, that is a basic Pokemon. Even something like Squilvet is a basic Pokemon. Yeah, there are abilities that you would use on evolution Pokemon. Curly and Bibarel, of course, both exist. But at a certain point, it's not really advantageous to try to shut those off because they're not going to be typically in the active spot doing that ability. So I just don't know how much use Flare Mane is going to see unless you're trying to stall somebody out by sticking something like Bibarel in the active spot and shutting it off so that it's both unable to get out of the active spot and unable to use its ability to help you get out of the active spot.
All right, now we have Explorer's Guidance, a supporter, ancient. Look at the top 6 cards of your deck and put 2 of them into your hand. Discard the other cards.
Yep.
What do you think?
So I think this is Hapu, is what I think. This is exactly Hapu. The card saw some niche play, but it was niche. And I think it's going to be the same for Explorer's Guidance. It's niche play.
All right. Now we're on to the future Pokemon. Iron Leaves EX, based off Virizion. Grass, 220 HP. Ability, Rapid Vernier. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may switch this Pokemon with your active Pokemon. If you do, you may move any number of energy from your bench Pokemon to this Pokemon. Then for GGC, Prismatic Edge, 180 damage. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. Weakness to fire, 1 retreat. Is it bleh?
It could go either way. Well, it depends on the meta.
That's like
Rapid Vernier. Well, in this one, it's really because this is a techie card. Tech cards are really super reliant on what the meta looks like. This is very clearly designed as being a potential answer for Charizard EX. Charizard is super, super good right now. It is weak to grass, which Iron Leaves happens to be. So yeah, it could go either way. Theoretically, it's possible. It will one-shot it if it hits it for weakness, which it does. And it does pool the energy to do that all on its own. So maybe it's a 2-prizer, so that's not great, and it doesn't have a ton of HP, which is also not great. But it can one-shot Zard, so maybe that's enough.
All right, now we have Iron Crown EX, based off Cobalion. Psychic, 220 HP. Ability, Cobalt Commander. Your future Pokemon's attacks, except any Iron Crown EX, do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Then for PCC, Twin Shuttles? What is that word?
So that's a great question.
Okay, you look that up. PCC Twin Shuttles. This attack does 50 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. This attack's damage isn't affected by weakness or resistance or any effects on those Pokemon. And then weak to dark, resistant to fighting, to retreat. Seems okay-ish. I mean, it gives you.
So this card is based on Deoxys EX. I believe it was from Black and White, that era. Mm-hmm. It was a whole plasma archetype that was focused around like Lugia and Deoxys, and a couple of other Pokemon. But this is very much the Deoxys in that combo.
So what do you think?
We'll see. The plus 20 could be really, really good. If it's made in combination with Iron Hands. The problem is we don't have any sort of Colress machine to accelerate to Iron Hands to make it super powerful. Like we do have the electric generator to get some lightning energies in, which Miraidon does already do. But that feels kind of awkward to try to get it powered up that way. But maybe. We'll see.
And I looked it up. Shuttles is a curved sword.
Yeah, I mean it's the hoops on it. Yeah, I know what they are. Just the pronunciation I'm not familiar with.
Shuttle. Sounds like something you do in the bathroom. Iron Bolter.
Okay.
I took a shuttle. Or no, maybe it's when you're at the airport. I'm gonna take a shuttle to the hotel. All right, Iron Boulder EX based off Terrakion, fighting 240 HP. For FC, Repulsor Axe, 60 damage. If this Pokemon takes damage from an attack during your opponent's next turn, put 8 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. FFC, Power Stamp, 200 damage. Discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. Weak to Grass, 3 retreat.
To me, this seems bad. Period. It's not techie. It just seems bad.
Yeah.
There are things that do better things. There are Pokemon that do better for similar costs. I don't think it's worth it.
Iron Thorns, Lightning, 140 HP. Iron Thorns is based off Tyranitar. LC, Destro Press, 70 times damage. Reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. This attack does 70 damage for each future card you find there. Discard the future cards you revealed in this way and shuffle the other cards back into your deck. Then LC, Megaton Lariat, 140 damage. Weak to fighting, 3 retreat. Bleh.
It's a meme.
Yeah.
It's a meme. Yeah, it's a meme.
Maybe
I'm sure people are going to be like, oh, it's just like Rapid Strike Malamar. I don't think so. It doesn't seem as good as Rapid Strike Malamar. It's really niche.
All right, then we have the supporter of the set, Cryptomaniac's Deciphering. Search your deck for 2 cards. Shuffle your deck, then put those cards on top of it in any order.
Yeah, so this card is Oracle. It's a reprint of Oracle from Skyridge. It's also a reprint of Mallow, I believe, from Guardians Rising. Same effect from both. There is no way this card does not see play. This card is extremely strong. We have cards right now in format that can take advantage of this effect. So you manipulate the cards you want to the top of your deck, and then use something like Radiant Greninja to draw into them, or Curly's Refinement to draw into them, or Barrel's Industrious Incisors to draw into them. You can find what you want if you have Cryptomaniac's Deciphering. So it will definitely see play. Now, will every deck want to play it because it is the supporter card of return? That's the question. Zoroark GX loved the card back when it was in format. Maybe Gardevoir finds a love for it. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, now we're on to our ACE SPEC cards. Neo Upper Energy, Special Energy. As long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides 1 colorless energy. As long as this card is attached to a Stage 2 Pokemon, this card provides every type of energy, but provides only 2 energy at a time. So, double rainbow.
Yeah.
For Stage 2s.
Yep.
So what do you think?
I'm gonna ask you on this one. What do you think?
There's probably better ACE specs that they're gonna have that you would play over this.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, it's bad. I think if it were just this and Master Ball, I could see this maybe seeing play. As is though, there is no way in hell this card sees play. The option, but literally the card below this one is just so significantly better that you would have to be a madman to include this in your deck over it.
they should have made it like 3 energy or something.
Or just not have it work only on stage 2 Pokemon.
Yeah.
They've limited it so much that it's just not good enough. It's not. Especially not to take the ACE spec slot in your deck. It's just not good enough.
All right, now we have Prime Catcher, which is what everyone's talking about. Item card. Switch in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot. If you do, switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon.
This card is one of the single strongest item cards they have printed in the last decade. There are so many plays that can be opened up just by this card existing. And whether or not that's good for the game, we'll find out, I guess. But this card can be found by Irida. It can be found by Arven. You can, of course, draw into it. Because of stuff like that. If, like for Arven, for example, you can grab Prime Catcher. You can grab Forest Seal Stone. You can use Forest Seal Stone to get whatever card you want from your deck. So you can be getting literally anything you want and gusting on the same turn. If you already have this in your hand, you could hit them with an Iono to 1 and gust them up. Like, just really, really give them hell with Prime Catcher. Prime Catcher is extraordinarily strong. And then one of my favorite moments in the past times of going on Poke Beach was when, before the destruction caused by those hackers, I'd go back and look at the comments on older articles, and I looked at when Guzma was first revealed, back when Burning Shadows was being leaked or revealed. They weren't leaks. And people were like, "This is just the worst Lysander." No.
Yep.
No, it wasn't.
That really turned out to be accurate.
The card was very much not a worse Lysander. The card is extraordinarily strong. People that have not played with Guzma, you don't comprehend just the sheer power that comes with being able to also switch your Pokemon. Yes, you may have to necessarily think about how you move things around a little bit differently because you're not necessarily going in with your active Pokemon, but that just doesn't matter. You're resetting things that say you can't attack that turn. You're getting rid of special conditions. You're removing a paralysis or whatever, right? You're taking advantage of that, and you're also able to take a fresh Pokemon from the bench, put it in the active spot for an attack, whether that's a single prizer going into a multi prizer, whatever that is. Just the sheer advantage of that gust switch effect over regular gusts is it's mind-blowing how much more powerful it is than just Boss's Orders. So will this card see play? Yes. Very, very much yes. If you are a Pokemon TCG player and you plan to play after Temporal Forces releases, you need a copy of this card.
Unless they release something even better.
No, even then, you need a copy of this card. Literally, the only way that they could do anything better is that they reprinted something absolutely insanely broken, like Lysander's Trump card, as an ACE spec.
It's like
this card is already ridiculous.
It's like a controlled warp point. Like, it's warp point, but you get to pick who you want.
It's Guzma. It's literally Guzma.
Well, in my day, it was warp point. So they're releasing a Koraidon EX and Miraidon EX starter deck, as you can see here. Several new cards. And I'm sorry, which were the ones you want to go over?
We can look at Iron Valiant and we can look at Master Ball.
Okay, Iron Valiant is right here. Iron Valiant, which is based on Gardevoir Gallade, Psychic, 130 HP, basic feature Pokemon. 1 colorless energy, twin lasers, 20 damage. This attack also does 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Don't apply weakness and resistance for bench Pokemon. And then for PPC, Zen Blade, 120 damage. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't use Zen Blade. Weakness to metal, to retreat.
So this card is kind of fulfilling the niche of Kyurem from Plasma, where it has that little bit of snipe damage. It has a little bit of a single prizer thing going on. It's just an interesting card to highlight. That's really all it is. Whether or not it sees play will be determined by whether or not the whole pseudo reprint of Deoxys, which is the Iron Crown EX, obviously actually works in the current format.
All right, and then we have the last revealed ACE SPEC card, Master Ball.
Yeah, and this is we're mostly looking at Master Ball, one, because we were right last week, and obviously we want to be right. But we're also looking at Master Ball because it is an ACE SPEC. It is an important card to look after the set. Unfortunately, because Prime Catcher exists, you're never playing this. You will always play Prime Catcher over this. Yeah. Master Ball, just searching your deck for a Pokemon, putting it into your hand.
Yep.
Then shuffling your
just
deck.
like before.
In a vacuum, it's really good. With the existence of Prime Catcher, you don't play it.
And then we also got new TCG artwork of the Paradox Pokemon, as you can see here.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And
really cool.
If you haven't played the games, should I reveal what Paradox Pokemon are?
I mean, I think at this point people should know what Paradox Pokemon are. If you still don't know what they are and don't want to be spoiled, maybe jump ahead like a couple minutes, but you should pretty much know. So
Paradox Pokemon are from different timelines, which is what fan theories, one of the fan theories people had. So basically they're pulled to our world from different timelines in the past or in the future, not our exact timeline. So
yeah, I mean, I think they're cool.
Yeah, I like
some
them.
cooler than others, but
I like the ancient ones better. I'm not really a fan of the turn Pokemon into robots thing.
I like Mecha Tyranitar. Iron Thorns,
like,
I think that's pretty cool.
Space Godzilla.
It's basically Godzilla, but as a robot. Like they're niche, cool. Miraidon, of course, is awesome.
Yeah, I love Miraidon.
But yeah, I as a general rule, I think the ancient Pokemon do look cooler.
Yep.
I look at Sandy Shocks though, and I just like look how they massacred my boy.
Oh, I like Sandy Shocks. Actually.
I love Magneton, and Sandy Shocks to me is just
I like Sandy
Shocks.
Shocks.
An abomination.
No, I like it. Oh, actually, wait. Let me look back at them again. Wait, what are our favorites?
Sandy Shocks hurts me.
Wait, let me see. Let's look at them real quick. So I don't really like the legendary beasts Paradox forms. Like
you're talking about like Gouging Fire, Walking Wake, and Raging Bolt.
I think
Gouging Fire is okay.
I don't like them turning them into dinosaurs. I mean, I like the idea of it. I like the idea of it, but I just think they're ugly.
Roaring Moon is really cool.
Yeah. I was gonna say Roaring Moon is cool.
Roaring Moon is really cool.
I like Sandy Shocks. I like Koraidon. I like Screamtail. Donphan, I guess, is okay.
Great Tusk.
Great Tusk. Yeah.
Fluttermane makes everyone that plays VGC cringe and cry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pokemon's a little busted.
And then
I don't really care for Brute Bonnet, but I don't really care for
I didn't even mention Brute Bonnet because I don't like it.
I noticed.
And I like the what's Volcrona's name again? The ancient form.
Oh, Slitherwing.
Yeah, Slitherwing. I think it's okay. And then for the future Pokemon,
I prefer Iron Moth.
For the future Pokemon, I like Iron Moth. I kind of like Iron Boulder actually, which is Trachian.
I don't love Iron Boulder, but I do like Iron Crown. I think that looks pretty cool.
And then we have the Mega Glade Gardevoir.
The ancient form, or the
Valiant.
future form rather.
Yeah.
I like Iron Valiant well enough, but I also like Glade and Gardevoir, so it's kind of hard not to like them.
And then Miraidon is cool, and then I don't really care for the others.
Like I said, I like Iron Thorns. The others, I don't really care for. I don't care for Iron Bundle. I don't care for Iron Hands or any of the others.
Iron Treads, it's got like that weird face. I don't like it.
Yeah, it could have been so much better. It does. It looks so derpy and not in a fun way.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Iron Jugulus, like, why did Hydreigon need a mecha form? Like, were we really pining for
that's
a
also
mecha Hydreigon?
I think that's also a Godzilla reference. Like in one of the movies.
I'm pretty sure it is, but like,
because it's like Ghidra from Godzilla, and then in one of the movies it has like a mecha head, or maybe in one of the movies it is completely mecha. I don't know. They have a lot of Godzilla.
I just feel like I don't know. I don't like Hydreigon very much as a Pokemon. It's probably the problem.
Yeah. All right, so I think that's it for the week, and we're still
No,
expecting
no, there's still one news story.
what? Oh,
The Raihan.
eh. Sorry.
Yes, there's still one news
All
story.
right, so Japan is having extra Battle Day tournaments starting January 1st. These are their expanded tournaments that they have once a year. This year, all participants will receive an alternate art Raihan promo right here. He's got new artwork. And they'll also get a booster pack that comes with 1 of 12 promo cards that are from the expanded format. They are mostly X and Y promos, but X and Y cards. There's also black and white ones. You can see you get Wobbuffet, Garbodor, Tapu Lele GX, Dragonite, EX from what set was that? The Evolutions and trainer cards. And yeah, and they all come with stamps.
I look at this list of cards, and I would love for them to come into English as reprints too, in a special expanded mini set kind of thing. But I'm also looking at these. I'm like, would I actually play expanded? And the answer is probably no, because and then 2 of the cards in this list are banned in a format I would play, which is Eternal. But at the same time, I'd really love to see these cards come back out, so the people that didn't play back when these cards were out originally have much better access to them.
Yeah, I think that's the point of giving them out too. But right now, TPCI isn't really supporting expanded for their premiere events. So, and we don't.
That you can't even sanction cups or challenges in expanded, which is really frustrating.
Yeah, and then we're expecting the format announcement to come maybe next week or something when they get back into their offices.
Maybe.
And
every time I'm like, yes, it's going to be this week. It's no, it's not.
No, but we don't know if they're really continuing with expanded for their premiere events. We already wrote the news story because we can pretty much the story writes itself because we already know what's going to happen, and the only question is, are they going to continue to support expanded, or are they just kind of sweeping it under the rug?
I think they've realized that the attendance at events for expanded was always significantly lower than the attendance of events for standard. Mm-hmm. And they like the high attendance numbers because that's a lot more revenue. That means more people playing, that means more people going, more people wanting to get their invite, which of course means more sales.
Yeah.
So I do think that there has been a monetary factor in slowing support for expanded.
And there's so many new players coming into the game, so it's I have to track down all these old cards off the secondary market.
Well,
and
that's something that a lot of people don't realize too, is a lot of people are like, oh, expanded's not really that expensive. And right now, no, it's not, because there's very little demand for any of the cards in expanded at the moment. If they're not useful in standard, they just don't really, nobody cares unless a collector wants that particular card. But you look at what's happened, even with just there's a fan format, Gym Leader Challenge. Tricky Jim and Andrew Mahone created that format. You look at what happened when they started sanctioning events for that at NAIC, and Pokemon, of course, is going to require real cards to be used. You can't use proxies, so Pokemon requires real cards to be used in their events, which includes those side events for GLC. You look at what happened to the prices of the cards that are super good in that format, stuff like Roserade, and they shot up to absolutely obscene amounts. And that was just from a single side event.
You mean pricing?
You said what was that?
Are you talking about prices when you said they shot up to obscene amounts?
Prices, yeah. And it's not like you can just go to the store and buy packs that contain these cards. Yeah. You can't, because they're that old. And that's the case with any of these cards for expanded. But you get something like Roserade, shooting up to $50 a piece, and that's a format that only requires 1 copy. You can't play more than 1 copy of Roserade in your deck. What happens when the demand spikes that much and the deck plays 4 copies? And that's something that a lot of people aren't going to take into consideration with something like this. If they do bring expanded back,
one little side event,
massive demand spike.
Wait, so I didn't know this. So one little side event shot up the price of that card?
So NAIC 2022, I believe it was the first time they did a side event for GLC at a major event, right?
Right.
NAIC had an officially sanctioned GLC format tournament that they held at NAIC itself. Mm-hmm. And because they required no proxies, the prices on everything shot up. And they've continued to hold side events at different regionals.
But you would think
using that Gym Leader Challenge format.
But you would think that it's just one side event. So how could that possibly affect the secondary market?
Because
that much?
Demand spiked. Well, think about it. You have 200-300 people.
Well, wait. Is it demand
it's a
or
combination.
is it people manipulating the market to?
It's a low supply. A low supply of an old card. People aren't going to have a big. It's not like Standard where you have cards that people are expecting to have a need or desire for. So like if, for example, right now, Professor's Research, they're cheap. One, because there's a crap ton of prints of them. But two, because people expect them to sell. So they're going to have them on hand. They're going to kind of pick them up and have them in their collection for their store, right? You get something a little bit older and it's not as desirable because it moves much slower. You know, you get one of these cards from 10 years ago. It's not the standard legal. It's probably maybe not worth picking up depending on your on how your store works. And so there's going to be a lot fewer of them available because they don't sell very fast. Well, you combo that with a huge and sudden spike in demand for the card, and you get 300 or 400 people looking for a single card on TCG Player or eBay or whatever, and that price is going to shoot up. Because people suddenly want that card, and there's a very limited supply of it available.
All right. So is that now it for the week?
I hope so. And I do want to state for the record that I don't hate the expanded format. I think it needs a little bit of help, maybe a couple of bans here and there. But I think that what it needs more than anything right now is some love from Pokemon. If they're going to continue stating that the format exists, they need to put some love into the format. They need to create, and I know we've mentioned this at least once on the podcast before, like a trainer's toolkit for expanded format, right? Mm-hmm. The core cards from the expanded format in a trainer's toolkit. Something like that would be extremely good for the format. It would help players get their hands on staple cards they just don't exist in standard because they haven't been seen in years. Stuff like Battle Compressor or Versus Seeker, Ace Trainer, all these cards that do see play, or at least have seen play in the expanded format in the past, and players may not necessarily have on hand. I think a product like that would be great, and it would sell. Right? Maybe not as fast as like a regular Trainer's Toolkit, maybe not as fast as a League Battle Deck, but they produce products all the time that aren't that good in terms of
sellability.
Player or sellability. That's a great word. They're not as good as something like those other products, but they do still sell. And something like an expanded trainer's toolkit would definitely be something that people would be interested in, because if you can get a copy of the 25, 30 most important trainer cards in expanded, why wouldn't you have them on hand?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm like very sick right now, and I'm struggling to stay up.
And I'm just yammering on, and you're like,
no, it's good. It's just hard to keep up right now.
I'm just playing.
No, it's hard. I'm just like, I just want to go to bed, but I can't go to bed because I have so much work to do today. So was that it for the week? Is that all we have to talk about? Was there anything else?
I think that's probably it. I think.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go.
Oh, as I said, we have New Year's coming up and a new year.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up too.
Oh, okay. Well, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
So 2024, new year, new you, as they say.
Is our goal, John, going to be to sleep more this next year?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
For both
sleep
of us.
And yeah, sleep. Anyway, let's end this because I'm just like out of it. All right.
Let's end it. Let's end it though with a Pokemon in the text below.
Oh, let me pick.
We were talking about
wait, let me pick. You always pick.
No.
Sleep.
Okay.
Musharna.
That's the one I was gonna pick. Awesome. Nailed it.
Okay. So say Musharna, and put the second letter in uppercase.
Yes,
and
just the second letter. Everything else
just the second
lowercase.
letter. And if you listen this far, put the last letter also in uppercase. So there you go. So they shut it up right away. So I don't know. Oh, and then be sure to also comment or whatever. Don't comment on this
Comment,
episode though,
like-
because I'm dead. So don't
No. Comment on it.
Comment
tell,
on
Tell John that he's so much hotter when he's sick.
What? Hotter? Yeah, probably my temperature.
It's the fever. I nailed it.
My temperature. All right.
Oh, that's so bad.
No, it's fine. Okay. All right. We'll see you all next week. Have a happy new year.
Have a happy new year.
Bye.